Welcome back, Fluff family, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Sweetie. This is Losing the Fluff, where we use walking workouts and low impact workouts to lose weight and really just focus on overall better health. Just want to take a moment to thank you for walking with me because I'm on my journey towards better health. Down 40 pounds and still walking. So, before we get started, make sure you have a cup, container, glass, bottle of water somewhere nearby. And if at any time, and I do mean any time, you need to take a break, pause me, I'm not going nowhere. Hydrate yourself, get your bearings back, but do return to the video because we're on a new journey and you gotta show your subconscious. You can finish what you start. Because we are really just in tune with our conscious self, but the unconscious mind, whole nother ball game. But that's where the magic happens. Everything that happens in the conscious world comes from the unconscious world. So we gotta lock that in, family. Now before we get started, it's time to stretch. So let's start off with the warrior pose. Position your feet like so. Arms up like this. Put down your middle finger to be your guide. Lean your right leg like so. We can hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Activate your core at the beginning of each workout and keep your core activated throughout the workout to work your ab muscles. Now let's work the other side. We'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, since we are working on our posture and our strength, we're going to do the tree pose. That means if you're not that strong, feel free to do this next to a wall, next to a stable chair, something that you can use for support. We're going to start off with hands on our sides. Well, I start off on the sides, but then my hands end up here, so let's just put them right here. Let's put our right foot back out like we were doing it for warrior, but we're going to bring it up our leg and lock it in like so. Once you do that, bring your hands down. See why you need that? Be next to something stable. Bring your hands down like so, and we're going to create our branches. When I first started doing this, y'all, I used to be wobbling literally all over the place. So if you find yourself doing that, it's not uncommon. Let's hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your arms back down. Bring your leg back to the floor. And what you do for one side, you do to the other. So, left leg time. Just bring that left leg up our right side. Lock it in. Make sure you lock in before you move to the next step. Bring your arms down. Let's take it up. So we form our branches and we hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's bring it back down. Leg back to the starting position. See why we have to work on that? It's going to make us stronger. And those squats we were doing, they were helping. So let's walk. This is why we continue to incorporate squats into our daily routine, just about every day. Because I'm going to go from like having bad knees to having like almost, I don't want to say robotic knees. No, I don't want that. But I want to have knees made of steel. Like, not literally, but like my knees to be. My cartilage to come back and be so strong. Like I'm 12 years old again. And you know, when you're 12 years old, if you are active like I was active, you thought you could do anything. I used to climb trees, jump off of garage roofs. I was that girl. I would ride bikes, doing tricks on bikes, jumping off of bikes. I was crazy with it. Loved it. But yes, I would like back with that agility. And who knows if I'll ever get back there. But I'm going to work to be the best that I can. The best version of myself. The best, healthiest version of me is coming through. In 2026, she's on the way right now. These steps, every step that I'm taking is one step closer to that woman, to that girl. And every step that you are taking right now is you are walking one step closer to being that chick or being that guy. That guy that currently exists in your mind. he or she, they are there. And we're just working to bring them out. One step at a time. Yes. It doesn't matter if anyone else knows that they're there. It only matters that you know. And that you feel in your heart it's their time to shine. And now it's time to put in this work. Yeah, what do we put in? That good work, right? It's time to put in that good work so that we can have the results that we want. So we can have the life that we deserve. A life for me that's more pain-free. A life for me that is less stress. And I feel like with me being more fluffier, I do have more stress on my joints. I am in more pain. And I've also seen, because I've lost 40 pounds so far, the alleviation of some of that. And that as I lose more weight, the alleviation of that. And so those things motivate me, y'all. And I'll be honest, when I was younger, my doctor tried to tell me this. I mean, it seemed like I was frustrated. So I'm going to share this because this may have happened to you. There was a time in my life when I felt like every single thing that was not a cold, when I went to the doctor, my doctor would say the same thing. And I would just look back at her like, you know, I get it. You want me to lose weight. But everything that I come in here for is not connected to weight. But it was, y'all. It was. Like, I was going in for all kinds of issues. Not having like a cold. Outside of that. And she would just say like, sweet, because she's from India. She's a cute little Indian accent. My doctor is gorgeous. I love her. She's been my doctor for, I don't know, for over 20 years. And she looked exactly the same. She's like about 4'11", cute little face. She's beautiful. One day I was out somewhere talking to this Indian man. He was asking me if I knew any beautiful Indian women. I was like, well, actually I do. But I don't know if she's in here. My doctor is beautiful. So she'd say, sweet Sniff, you need to lose weight. And I just look at her like, because it's like everything. And I come in about my foot. Sweet Sniff, you need to lose weight. I come in about my knees. Sweet Sniff, you need to lose weight. I come in about my back. Sweet Sniff, you need to lose weight. I'm like, come on, doctor. Come on, give me something I can do. You know, I was working like 14, 15-hour days. I didn't even have time for myself, y'all. I didn't have time for my kids. I didn't have time to sleep. I didn't have time to do nothing. And I'm going to tell you, I was working 14, 15-hour days. That was in the office. I still had work to bring home. But at this point in my life, my job just never seemed to be done. And this is why, for me, if I went back to going to work, anybody try to offer me a salary job, I'm quitting. Fuck you, I'm quitting. I don't want no parts of you. You tried to trap me into enslavement. I'm sorry. For anybody who works a salary, that was how I felt. I don't know how you feel, but I'm never going back to being a slave ever again in my life. And that was slavery. And you know what? I'm going to tell you the trick. Oh, we'll put you on salary. Your salary is going to increase annually from this amount to that amount. And yeah, but the kicker that I didn't quite understand when I allowed them to convert me from a 40-hour plus to salary, it didn't matter if I worked 57,000 hours in one shift. One 40-hour week, didn't matter if I worked 50 million hours. I was just going to get paid for the 40. Yeah, you know what? They should have just led with that part, right? Because once you would explain, no matter what I did, I would only get paid for 40. I was like, yeah, no, I got kids. I need to stay like this, right? Because in the end, when I do the math, I'd have made way more money if I'd have stayed like that. Because in the end, when I went up to boss, get salary, my hours, I'm gonna tell you, on a 2-week, go to put in my paycheck, like do your times, they started telling me like, don't put down all that time. Just put down the 80. I said, no, I need you to see I worked 100 some hours. So I'm not going to, you ain't paying me for it, but I need you to see what I'm putting in. So you're going to see it. They didn't even want to see it. You knew you was working me to the bone like a dog. And then I be on vacation, y'all. Just because I had a BlackBerry, they thinking they could hit me up all the time. Put that shit off. They're like, oh, sweetie, we send you all these emails, we need it back. I said, yeah, but I went on vacation and I bought that BlackBerry for work, so I left that at home. Sorry. Salary don't mean I'm working during vacation. And I'm taking off time to spend with my kids. I don't play that. My time with my kids was my time with my kids. And I was taking my kids. We were going to go places and have fun. I wasn't about to be stuck in this BlackBerry talking to your behind about stuff that could wait until I get back. No, I wasn't doing that. I would never, ever work salary ever again. I did not even have, listen, when I tell you gotta make time to work out, I'll tell you in that time, I didn't feel like I had a damn time, excuse my French, to work out. I didn't, because I feel like from the moment I woke up, I gotta go take a shower, I gotta work on reports, I gotta take my kids to daycare, I gotta go to a meeting, I gotta go to work. I'm at work all day, sitting in my office, I'm at the desk, I gotta do reports, and I gotta get up in the afternoon, physically go be into program with kids. And I just couldn't find good staff at the time. So then I had to take my reports into program and try to work on report and then help supervise people who should have been able to supervise themselves. Goodness. And so I was so overwhelmed. I left this whole city. I said, I need a break. I can't do this. And when I came back, I had been at that job for over a decade. I ain't go back. I ain't go here. They wanted me to come. No. You're going to pay somebody else and you're going to pay them the money that they deserve because all the stuff that you had me doing was enslavement. I'll never go back to that ever again. Now, I'm going to tell y'all right now, you find yourself in that type of job that I'm describing where you feel like all you got time to do is take a shower. You don't even really got time to cook a full meal because they're giving you so much work to do and then you always responsible for all this stuff that has to be done, all these reports that got to get done, supervising all this. Listen, I ain't have enough time for myself. I ain't even have time to pass gas. I felt like I ain't have time for nothing. Like, I really didn't even have time to cook. I was in the fast food lines regularly, y'all. And that is no way to eat. But I will tell you this. The one thing I did learn over time, and when I actually had time to stop and think about what was happening, because I didn't have time to stop and think. I just only had time to move. I was a single mom. I only had time to move. Just keep moving, keep going. Wasn't no time to stop. And stop and think about what? Taking time to stop and think means money ain't being made, it means bills ain't being paid, and I gotta pay this daycare lady, okay? She wants to have money every Friday. So, yeah, I had to keep moving. But when I did have a chance, like years later, once I started having my health problems, that's when I got forced to stop. But when I got forced to stop, I started looking back over my life, and I was just like, hell no, never again. You know, and that was like the job I loved the most, but also the job I hated the most, if that ever makes sense to y'all. Did you ever have a job that you loved the most, but you could also hate that job the most? Like out of all the jobs I ever had, I loved that job the most, but also out of all the jobs I ever had, I hated that one the most. You know, and it's both for me, y'all. It's both for me. I'll be honest. I work with kids. I love the kids. I loved the kids. I love what I did with the kids. I didn't like the bureaucracy of everything else. You know what I mean? Like, trying to get what I needed sometimes was like pulling teeth. And I'm just like, listening to the people on the front line that's actually hands-on, working with the kids. The kids is telling you, you know, what it is that they feel that they need in that moment. But then going back to the bosses, to the funders, to get what you need from them, it's like, they're looking at reports. And the reports are telling them this. How many years ago was these reports made? Let's be honest. And we work in the inner cities. Who were these reports made on? Where were these kids? Because at the end of the day, not all statistics apply. You know, you try to put everything in a box, and it wasn't working. I'll tell y'all it wasn't working. You know what I mean? So when we were able to work outside of the box, and we were able to get things that didn't require funding, but more or less donations, or people who could see our vision and say, yeah, I have something very similar. Let's do a collaboration. Our kids loved it. And in that way, I loved bringing the kids what they wanted and what they needed and things to help them thrive and grow. The flip side of that is I was at work so much with other people's kids, started getting depressed. Because I felt like I'm raising all the kids in my community, but I'm not raising mine. Because my kids wasn't old enough to be in my programs. And my kids couldn't even be in my programs. And so I wasn't having to spend time with them. I spent time with all the other kids in the community, raising all the other kids, and not mine. And it started getting to me. It really started getting to me. And I said, I gotta find a balance. It was hard to find a balance, y'all. I don't know to this day how to find a balance with what they threw at me versus what I wanted to give my kids. It's only 24 hours in this day. And they pretty much had me on lock for like 18. Right, 18. Because you know what? Once they put me on salary, they didn't give a flying if I had to go home and work till midnight. They didn't care. As long as all this stuff is done. And all this stuff flows smoothly. And even though, you let some people go. And now, because I'm the boss, I got to pick up their slack. Because, you don't want to hire people right now. Because we're low on, remember, I work for a nonprofit. We're low on funds. And this is what happens sometimes at nonprofits. They will not hire staff so they can keep that salary that they would pay that staff to fill in gaps for other places. But the gaps, y'all, that are being not filled are the ones you want filled. Supervision, eyes on your kids, enough staff to do the job. I don't feel like you should ever skip on that type of stuff, y'all. The things that have happened when I was working with kids, and sometimes from being overstaffed, y'all, as a parent, I'd have been ready to fight if I would have knew that my kids had been put in certain type of situations because it wasn't properly staffed. And I'm telling you, I know my organization is the only one that's like that will take the money and be holding and stacking it instead of hiring the staff that they need. But that means that your kids aren't getting what they actually deserve. Not fully. So yeah, I'm telling y'all. When I tell y'all this stuff, it's not because I can't relate. I was not always a housewife, okay? I actually used to work out in the corporate world. And I used to work, and I used to be a boss, and I used to do boss stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I lived that life. And if I could choose between being a boss and just being a housewife, I just choose a housewife. Because in the housewife position, I get to choose my kids first. And that wasn't that I don't love the other kids. I will always love those kids that are now adults. I love them. But the time that I lost with my own kids, you can't get that back. You can't. And that's just the truth on that. I would never trade that again. It's not worth it to me. I enjoyed the experience. I learned so much. But sometimes, y'all, these jobs be taking parts of your soul. Taking parts of you that you can't get back. And once you realize that this stuff is happening, y'all, you gotta make a choice. It ain't always about the money. Money comes, money goes. And what do I say? You don't want to be that person that they found dead in the office on Monday who literally died on Friday. Nobody saw you dead at your desk. The whole office closed down. Your whole body there all weekend. You are a homebody. You don't have a lot of friends, people that check on you. So no one knows. They think that you're at home. And if anybody did check on you and you didn't answer, they just probably thought you were at work. But the truth is, you're gone now. You don't want that to be your life, because then on Monday, when they find your dead corpse at the job, Monday afternoon, your position's being posted. By Friday, they're interviewing for your job. And then what happened to you? See, that's what I keep saying. Don't put all your energy and focus into work. We weren't born to work for any of these corporations. Our lives have much more meaning than that. It's just that we get caught up in the everyday. We get caught up in how we're told we're supposed to live this thing called life. We get caught up in all these barriers that they have put on us that we need to live. We need food, we need money. We don't have these things, so we have to go out to do these things so that we can get these things. But if you look back 100 years ago, life was different. People were growing their own food. You didn't have to go out and work for it. You went out and picked it from your yard, from your farm. You worked your farm. You bartered with your neighbor for things you didn't have. I'm not saying that life was easy. That was hard work too. But it was hard work that always came back to you in the end, into your family, and generationally, you benefited from that. When you go off to work now, in the day and the life that we live now, when you go off and you go to work, everything that you're doing is not generational unless you're rich. If you're a person, most people work paycheck to paycheck. There's nothing generational about working paycheck to paycheck. You die, that check that you just worked for, they don't even want to give it to your family. Because they ain't you. Even though your family want to take that last paycheck to help bury you. Because a lot of times when you work paycheck to paycheck, people don't be having life insurance. They don't. They don't. And I will not lie to y'all and tell you, in my family, I have had and have given donations to help bury my loved ones. I know I'm not the only person who has done that. I know I'm not the only person who has seen a GoFundMe on their Facebook for someone that you know who passed away, and you're like, oh my goodness, they don't even have enough money to bury this person. You go look at your finances and you send over money to help bury that person. I know I'm not the only person that has done that. But listen, that's life we live in. And that's not what you want. You do want to be able to plan for these things. You want to be able to afford that. You don't want to leave the burden of your death on your family. You know what I mean? So it's like, right now, when I'm saying we're focusing on our health, we're focusing on our physical body, that's one aspect of it, y'all. But the truth is that when you're working for better health is not just physical. It's also mental. It's also psychological. And as we lose the fluff, understand, we are also losing some of the fluffy mental things that was going on in our mind. As we lose the fluff, our mind is also changing. We are changing. So that girl, that chick, that guy you see in your head, just know that person that you are visually seeing in your head is also mentally just as different as they are physically different. You might not understand that yet, but you will as you start to lose weight, as your mindset starts to change, as your outlook on life changes, as the things that you valued in the past begin to change. You will see that you too are changing, and that when you're losing weight, when you're on this weight loss journey, you're just thinking it's physical. It's not just physical, family. It's not just physical things. You're changing in multiple ways. And in the end, when you arrive, aka when you meet that goal weight, it's gonna be like the blossoming of the beautiful, unique flower. And all the things that you're gonna be able to give to the world, your truest, most authentic, most healthiest version of yourself is going to be so much appreciated, because that's what the world needs. We need healed people in this world. Healed from the inside out. That is how the world is going to become a better place, family, as we all work towards healing ourselves. And that looks different for everybody. You know, because when you look at some people and they don't have to lose weight, that doesn't mean that they're not healed. They have other aspects that they need to work on. And for them, it's like being overweight. Except they don't have the physical weight. They have other weights, other restraints in their lives that they have to overcome and be healed from. As a person who's physically overweight, you understand that you have your physical weight that is also your boundaries, but you also have the mental aspects that help contribute to the weight gain that you also have to overcome. You know that. No one has to tell you that. If you're honest with yourself, you know those things, right? We know it. But now, it's just about accepting that, coming to the truth table, and doing what we gotta do so we can be successful. You know what I mean? So, let's get ready to cool it down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know we just walked today, but sometimes a walk is all that's needed. Put your hands on your hips. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Let's take it up. off on the exhale. There you go. And if you're still listening to the sound of my voice, you've made it to the end of today's video. I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for you coming and walking with me and staying with me and listening to me rant about once upon a time when I was overworked and feeling like a slave. And I know that many of you can relate to that. That's why I chose to share that part of my life. Today we got 2,657 steps. That's 2,627 steps. Great start to our day, family. I love you. Go out there and be amazing. And just know that every day we're putting in the work. Just lock in for a good 6 months. Lock in. We're going into winter. Lock in. You thank yourself later. I love you. And remember, giving up on yourself, never an option. Till next time.